Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be dialing in the fitment on the white MR2. First thing we're going to do is actually roll the fenders. I've actually never rolled fenders on a car, so it's kind of a learning curve for me. I actually bought this I think like a year ago. Jesus and I were going to roll the fenders on his Miata. He didn't want to lower the car that much, so we just ended up not doing it. But I read the instructions. It's always a good idea. Heat up the paint to 120 degrees, which I don't have a thermometer, so I guess I'll just eyeball it. I'm not really worried about ruining anything though, because the paint on the MR2 sucks, especially on the fender that we're gonna start on. And then after that, just take it nice and slow. That should be easy enough. This is a lot heavier than I anticipated, actually. I've never used one of these, as I mentioned, and I'm thinking, well, I looked at the picture and it says this is for the pressure. Don't really know how this works. And then these little things are apparently, since I have like tuner lug nuts, so that they can sit on this and not damage, I guess, this mounting surface or whatever. I did mess with the adjustments a little bit. When I got mine, this was here and then this was here. So these you just screw in and this is held in with a little clip. All right, and we can get this thing on. Overall, the one thing I will say is that this does seem pretty solid. The fender roller is set up now. The paint really sucks on this fender. You can see a lot of orange peel and whatnot, so I'm not really worried if the paint starts flaking off here, but this is a good practice one before I do the other side. I think though I will use the heat gun. Since I don't have a thermometer, I'm just gonna heat it up and then kind of touch it to see how hot it is and go from there. It's probably not the best way to do it, but it's all I got. One of the things I didn't even stop to think about is these little tabs right here. So I've started by trying to bend those back little by little, and then once those are more even with everything else, I think I should be able to easily pull, or I guess roll the fender, then pull it out. Well, I rolled the lip and it's pretty much flat. I hope this picks up on camera, but yeah, this right here is pretty much flat. Yeah, overall, I guess for my first time rolling a fender, it wasn't like the worst thing in the world. I think it's just gonna take more practice because I think I should have started out with this a little bit more vertical and then worked my way to like a horizontal position. The other thing is maybe take it slower. I mean, I did my best to take it slow the whole time and I kept the heat on there. But what ended up happening was right here in this corner, I don't know how well it picks up on camera, but right there in that corner, the fender actually cracked. Luckily, like these two fenders, again, I don't care if I mess them up because, well, they're not good fenders to begin with, so who cares? But yeah, now we're gonna get back to actually like pulling the fenders out. I jacked the wheel up and this is really all I could end up getting because it started lifting the car. The car does have 7K springs in the front, so they're kind of heavy duty, not surprised there. In order for me to get that full articulation, I will definitely need to take off the spring, but I'm not super worried about hitting up there. I do think I'm gonna pull the fender just a little bit more so that like full suspension compression, I don't have any issues with hitting the fenders. Yeah, I'm not even gonna get close to this stuff up there, those pinch welds at the top. So I'm gonna quickly roll the fenders just a little bit more off camera and we'll try this again. Here is attempt number 2. I think we're gonna be good with this fitment. It is like super flush and I'm totally fine with this. I think it's gonna be good. So right now, the only like hitting issue is right here at the back and that's it. And I'm able to get about a little over 1.5 turns. On this car, it has a manual rack and I get about just under 2 full turns to lock. I'm getting the vast majority of my turning in. We'll get started on the passenger side and hopefully it doesn't take too long because this side ended up taking me like almost 45 minutes. I went really slow and they get paid some dividends, so I'm happy with it. Well, everyone, I am pretty irritated with myself right now, and the reason for it is I actually messed up this fender right here. I don't know how well it picks up on camera, but I ended up denting the fender and I messed this up. So over here, this side, totally fine. It's cool because also the wheel is nice and flush now, but here I messed up the lip and then I put a little dent right there on the fender. And what ended up happening was I just got careless and I started cranking away, like doing too many turns on the fender roller. And that's what caused this situation here. here. So pretty irritated with myself. Pretty much like the only saving grace here is the fact that this is not the nicest fender, and I actually had plans after the swap to change these out. I'm gonna call it a day because when I'm annoyed, I know I don't do good work, and luckily there's not like any rush to get this done. So I'm gonna go home and we'll pick this back up tomorrow. We'll get the ride height adjusted and then take her out for a spin. What's up, guys? It's the next day, and I'm glad I took a second to walk away because I was really just mad at myself for being an idiot. I should have been more careful. It did give me some time to kind of think about it though. I was looking at some old pictures of my car, and if you're curious how my MR2 looked, here's actually some pictures the night I brought her home almost just over 5 years ago now. She was not completely straight. You could actually still see some of the damage from where she had been in an accident. The car was a nicer shape though than it is now. I feel like I have let the car go cosmetically. Mechanically, she's still pretty good. Cooling issues, but I actually have a new radiator and water pump, so that will be taken care of relatively soon. This MR2 is going to be one of my forever cars. I'm never going to get rid of it short of like some freak accident happening or something like that. And because of that, I'm going to change up how I'm going to do things with this. So my plan was winter of 2022, swap this car. Winter of 2023, I was going to do some like body modifications. I'm going to do it the opposite way. So winter of 2022, I'm going to start doing the body modification so I can fix these fenders that I've ruined, and also just some of the other damage that's around the car. The hood is actually pretty straight, but it does sit to the passenger side, or like when you put it down, it goes that way. So I think the hood hinges are bent. I have a new cover here for the driver's side headlight. Here is this damage on the bumper. I think the bumper is going to be salvageable. I'm not entirely sure though, because I was thinking some fiberglass and it should be okay. We'll see though. If you guys have any tips on that, definitely let me know, because I'm not a body expert, so that'd be good to know. And I'll end up replacing this fender as well. But there are some additional things. Up here at the windshield, there's actually some rust bubbling. So I imagine that, you know, when you take out the windshield and start like taking the paint off, this rust is actually a lot worse. Right now, the plan is to lower the car slightly. I don't want the tire to hit the top of the wheel well and then like get sliced up. I was thinking lowering it about 1 inch, because that would put it previously to where it was. I actually may also end up raising the back up, because based off of what I think is going to happen is I'm not going to get it super low like I was hoping. So the rear is going to have to come up a little bit just so it has a bit of a rake, because to have the rear lower than the front, I think looks funny. In the front, that's actually as low as it will go. God, this is gonna, I'm never gonna let myself live this down. But anyways, this is actually as low as it will go. I adjusted the spring to the very bottom, and I still have room, so I'm not gonna be hitting the pinch weld on top of the front fenders. The rear, I didn't even touch. I do think I'm gonna end up lifting the rear just a little bit, because the car has a bit of a rake, or I guess a squat, so the front is a little bit higher. Of course, the fenders are messed up. I'm gonna be measuring from the pinch welds, which on this car still actually happen to be good. We are taking the car on its maiden voyage to see how the new setup feels. Backwards, I got about a turn in, no rubbing, so that's good. I know if I go anything more than this, or about a turn and a half, so about right here, it will start to rub. The plan is to start off by just driving around the block. If it feels good here, we will take it on the highway. My main concern is actually just rubbing. Feels fine. Soaks up the bumps really well. The car ended up feeling good, so I decided to come out on the backcountry road. I'm not gonna do anything crazy because it's a public road, of course. Turn in is really darty. That's kind of to be expected because the car has a crazy amount of tow out right now. The steering feedback's probably the biggest thing. I added a bunch of caster so it doesn't hit in the back, and I kind of anticipated that the steering feel would be really tough, but it's not bad at all, actually. Whoa. The front grip this thing has is actually pretty shocking. Going from a 215 to a 245, that makes a huge difference. Aside from me being dumb and careless, I'm super happy with how things turned out. And I guess the thing moving forward is to plan for the body modifications that are going to be coming up. And I know I said winter of 2022. I'm very impatient, so I doubt I'm actually going to put it off for that long. So realistically, within the next 6 months, I'm going to go home right now and actually start seeing what's out there, because I have an idea of how I want the car to look, but I want to see what products are also available. Try to find some type of middle ground. That's all we got for today's video, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.